Yikes. Halfway through the year already, and I'm also sneaking up on 100 episodes. Should I do anything special? What do you think, the 5 people who watch me? Should I go all out and get that coveted 6th viewer? Maybe I'll get really lucky, and one of the already existing viewers won't unsubscribe before the end of the year. That'll leave a total of... still not enough people to make any money doing this. Patreon! Anyway, welcome to the mid-year English dub review here on Otaku Evolution. I'm Mike, Penguin Truth, and I normally watch anime in Japanese. Yes, it's still true, outside of watching for these videos, I normally go to the Japanese track first. Well, it's partially out of timing, since you get things subtitled earlier usually. The only things I watch English first are the anime that air on TV that I haven't already seen. And I don't watch all of that. I mean, have you seen Toonami lately? Tokyo Ghoul? And that follows Attack on Titan. It's the Funimation Edge Hour. At least Lupin the Third Part 4 is on the way. You'd better watch it. It appears as though most of the anime I've reviewed thus far this year were dubbed by the same 4 studios. NYAV Post, Bang Zoom, Animaze, and Funimation. There are a few other lesser-known studios mixed in too, but 2 of each of the others. Let's start with one of the big guys with my favorite dub studio, Animaze. Well, as I said about the dubs of the first 2 Gundam movies, I will also say about the dub of the final one. It's not good. It's really pretty stiff and or stilted. While there was some camp charm to it for a while, by the 3rd movie the novelty is long worn out and you just start to cringe at many of the line reads. Even Stephen Bloom's Char begins to lose its cool factor sometime before the final act. So by the end you're so glad it's over, the Ocean cast of the TV show look like, ironically, the Cowboy Bebop cast in comparison. When was the last time Michael Lindsay even saw work in the business? Or Olivia Bordeaux? What in the name of Ghost Lala is Sayla's accent supposed to be? The Zeon accent?
Why? We didn't want him to sacrifice himself for us. But he did.
At least with the Blackjack dub, while not every performance is brilliant, the principals all do well. I'm talking specifically about Kirk Thornton as Blackjack, a performance I feel is just as definitive for the character as the Japanese original. Of course, nobody else has actually voiced him in English, so it's not like there's competition, but he just has so much gravity and sharpness to him, I find the work notable. If only somebody had dubbed the TV series, I'd love to have heard him in the part again.
Under the circumstances, I'm raising my fee from $800,000 to $8 million, and per my new terms, the balance is now due. Syndicates have that kind of money.
They're killers! You might die!
Perhaps. Then again, they might go down first, you never know.
You're crazy!
Sometimes I like to walk on the wild side.
Monster Island Studio was ADV's B team, which eventually merged with the A team, and I pity the fool who has to hear a dub like the one for Birth, which sounds like most of the voice actors are fill-ins. Not that the feature itself is any great masterpiece, it's a bizarre curiosity at best, but some of these people sound like they're on the first day on their jobs. And I usually didn't even like ADV at their best.
Hey there, Jigglybutt.
Eat my sand, you loudmouth!
But there's always worse, like Swirl Recording's truly lifeless dub of Tokyo Project. It's no surprise that this is the same studio that mostly just did dubs for hentai titles. But I can't imagine anyone was getting off with their droning, monotonous deliveries. It made me appreciate Monster Island that much more. This is like Anime Yago Southwind Studios bad. These folks make Blue Water look like new generation pictures. I hesitate to even use a clip. Believe me, I only chose this to review because of the mecha thing. And that sweet music.
I knew you'd make it.
It's okay. I'm here.
I knew you'd come back. It's okay.
Nothing like waiting to the last minute, Junpei.
You scared us, Junpei.
Hey, sorry, guys. You know, you guys shouldn't have risked your lives so needlessly for this investigation. But I'm glad you did.
Let's get out of here.
You got it.
Even streamlined stub for Babel II, which is clearly just going through the motions, is a relief from Tokyo projects. At least it featured voice actors that will go on to performing well elsewhere, like Michael McConaughey, Dan Warren, Kirk Thornton, and Wendy Lee. Masick may have made a big mess of Macross, but he was not entirely without an ear for talent. You can catch this one on DVD from Discotheque, by the way.
You're still alive. How? Yomi, you've lost the fight. You're wrong.
And now you're wondering why your body suddenly feels so weak. You used up all your energy in trying to destroy me. But it was hopeless. I simply absorbed everything you put out.
You couldn't have.
You miscalculated.
But let's get back to one of the better-known studios, shall we? New York's NYAV has a, let's say, rough history of English dubs. It's not for a lack of voice acting talent either, since even some West Coast talent came out of the New York pool, and now vice versa. I'm guessing there just isn't a trend of strong directing. But I don't have any major complaints about the dubs for the Gokusen and Ninja Nonsense. Granted, neither of them really go beyond the level of tolerable most of the time, but there are some little nuggets of gold in certain performances. Caroline Lawson really grew on me as young Kumi, and I've always enjoyed Ed Paul's work. With Ninja Nonsense, it has a dub that shines the most when Sean Schimmel can cut loose as Ansakamaru, or Meredith Zeitlin's exasperated Kaede is on display. These dubs aren't necessarily good per se, but they can be enjoyed without a lot of cringing. Low praise, but given some of the other dubs I've covered, they're like little rays of sunshine. Bang Zoom has dubbed plenty of prominent titles over the years, even continuing to do so, though they focus on video games now. As they work out of Burbank, California, they use a lot of the same talent pool that Animaze used to, so it's common to mistake a dub from one studio for a dub from the other. The best Animaze dubs were usually better, but Bang Zoom held its own in the heyday. A solid example of Bang Zoom's quality English dubs is the one for Gungrave. It was directed by Eric Sherman, who also helmed the dubs of Last Exile, Haruhi, Samurai Champloo, and others. It features some pretty solid casting, including Tony Oliver as the younger version of Harry McDowell, Stephen Bloom, Michael McConaughey, Bo Billingsley, Michelle Ruff, and William Frederick Knight. A few weaknesses in line reads here and there, but otherwise a strong showing. Making it an anime I may even prefer watching in English.
Please listen to what I have to say. I have a proposal. In order to ensure your financial stability, we're offering to lend you the funding and security that only the Millennium Organization can provide.
Captain Harlock, Captain Harlock, and this Odyssey is another Bang Zoom joint, though it isn't quite as stacked with a caliber superstar as Gungrave had. It still starred Lex Lang as the titular scarred space captain, and also had Dave Wittenberg and Jameson Price, with some respectable fill-ins by the likes of Kari Walgren and Michelle Ruff. It's more standard quality than Gungrave's dub, but being fairly good on its own means the standard is higher than with other studios.
Back when the human race had become fat and lazy, the only ones who were willing to venture out into space were a small group of outlaws. They all laughed at us. As we left, they told us the dream we were chasing no longer exists.
The JoJo's Bizarre Adventure TV series has a Bang Zoom dub. The quality is, well, it varies, I guess. It's certainly better than the dubs for the OVAs. Speaking of which, I need to get to the rest of that. But speaking of California studios, there's Network. Famous for, well, only one thing, dubbing Tenchi Muyo. It doesn't really hold up super well. And few of the voices in it even went on to much, except more Tenchi Muyo. Now that doesn't necessarily mean they aren't talented, but I have to say that I generally watch Tenchi in Japanese for a reason. They all sound super awkward by today's standards. SkyQuest Entertainment, which dubbed Golgo 13 Queen Bee, also worked on the left coast. Believe it or not, our old pal Duke was portrayed by John DiMaggio. Which to go for, a Futurama joke or an Adventure Time joke? Some shiny metal ass or making bacon pancakes? Oh! Although, it's not like Gogo ever says much, so we don't get that much of DiMaggio. We get much more of the VA for Queen Bee herself. She's best known for being Eon from Eon Flux. I think she sounds similar to Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, actually. This dub's not remarkable, but it's certainly better than, say, Tokyo Projects or Births. Then there's Manga Entertainment, not really the bastion of great English dubs, but the Tank Police dub does kind of have a strange, quirky charm to it. I've always been a fan of Sean Barrett's Captain Brenton. He gave him a sense of manic hypermasculinity that breaks down into infantile sensitivity. That makes for a great gag. The dub did replace portions of the music, a practice I'm not fond of, but at least some of that music is decent. I just wish they had an alternative dub with just the Japanese music.
By the way, you like my new toy tank?
Can that pop gun it's got pop?
Yes, of course it can.
Okay, then give me a ride.
I'm not sure that I ought to. My new department would easily object. Child welfare, that is. My tank commander ordered me to go. Waku, I'll get away, I guess.
Blackmail's a criminal offense.
You look pretty tired.
I'll say this for you. You've learned how the police do things pretty damn quick and efficiently.
Is the transfer to child welfare canceled?
Okay, I give in.
Hooray! I won!
Which brings us irrevocably to Funimation and A Tale of Two English Dubs. There's only so many times I can express my distaste for Funimation's old loop on the third English dubs before it just becomes like a broken record. I just don't feel like the cast has any real chemistry, either with the material or each other. At its best, the dub for Pursuit of HARIMAO'S Treasure is simply tolerable, but for most of the run of the feature, pretty cringeworthy. It's a shame that the only two Dazaki Lupin features dubbed into English had lousy dubs. Michiko and Hachin, on the other hand, is one of the best English dubs for an anime I've ever heard, a contender for the Grand Pantheon of dubs. Everyone's firing on all cylinders, especially Monica Rial's Michiko and Akron Watson's Satoshi. They all sound so natural in their roles, down to even incidental one-off characters, a feat not often accomplished in Funimation dubs, or dubs in general. I haven't even sat through the whole show in Japanese. The English version's just so good. Everybody involved should be proud, because it's clearly the best English dub I've encountered this year. No contest.
Go in here. That has to be it. Here goes, Hachin.
And that's it for the mid-year dub review. What was that, 12 episodes this season so far? Felt like more. Wait until I hit November and I'm totally coasting because I'm busy working on the Christmas episode. But while I'm still working my fingers off on these videos, it wouldn't hurt you to contribute a little to my Patreon. If you'll excuse me, I've got a bird to see about a mission. He seemed pretty excited about something just the other day, and that usually doesn't bode well for me. I hope I don't end up helping him install another jacuzzi in that room of his. I'll be back with more Otaku Evolution soon. Until then, see ya!
I say, what? It's proper time you chaps arrived. I was positively packaged and was just about to slip off to the Blades for some Dover Soul, a snifter of brandy, and some bridge with the Derby gents. Yes, quite. Bit of a heartbeat gal, that one. There was rather a palaver over the whole arrangement. Figure she'd preferred to remain in the cold, so to speak. Odd that, given her over-eagerness to engage is what had her sent to Coventry to start. Bitter, you reckon? What? Oh, she's a right trooper at the observation game. But dangle a right piece of mince, her eyes grow sharp. Fancies herself a rumbler. Learned an archaic form of Dambe, from what I hear. Very gung-ho. But in the office, that's not bloody cricket.
What's this about anyway, Pen Pen? Student? Ah, shit. This again?
I'll phone up the casino straight away. If I know my agent, she'll be there.